program has a skill that requires function parameters. There's no way to do this overloading process, which I'm going to demonstrate without using function parameters. So imagine I have a program where the user gives an amount of numbers and we tell them the largest of them. So we want to make this program flexible, which is where functions really help us out in a couple cases. With keeping a very clean main program, we can still make the program actually do a lot more in terms of the flexibility. So the user is going to give us something, say they give us 2 numbers, 3 numbers, 4 numbers. We don't know how many they're going to give us. We're going to ask them how many, and then we'll tell them which is the largest. So what we're going to do is we'll have int numbers. So this is where the user is going to tell us how many numbers they will be given. So N1, N2, N3, and N4. Now, for this situation, what I want to do is only stop it at 4 because I think the programming will get a little bit long, but you'll get the idea with 4 numbers. But if you want to create a version of this with 10, go for it. So we'll first we'll prompt them for how many numbers they have. So we will ask them how many numbers. And then they will see in the amount of numbers, and then we will do our work. So what I'm going to do is there's a bunch of different ways of doing this. Say like if they put in 3, then I can prompt them for N1, N2, and N3. And then if they give me 4, I can prompt them for N1, N2, N3, N4. But that programming gets a little bit long. So I'm going to do it this way. So if numbers is larger than or equal to 1, so I know that they have at least 1, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cout, enter number 1, and cin N1. Okay. Now, for the next one, I'm going to do this, except I will put a 2. And enter number 2, and it will be N2. Now, for this, of course, we don't want an else because we could possibly be running both of these. And then I'll just do a copy paste on all of this, and then do the same thing for 3, 3, 3, and then this next one will be 4, 4, 4. I left the greater than or equals here, just in case the program ends up having more than 4 in its final version. Okay, so based on how many numbers they give me, I am going to be prompting for that many. Now, what I'm going to do is here I am going to display the largest number. So the best way to do this, I am going to put in largest, and then I will send it N1. So let's see what this function would look like. So it's going to receive N1. So all the way up at the top, we're going to do void largest. Now int N1. And now for this, there's only one number, so we don't have to do a lot of work for this. We're just going to see out that the largest is going to be n1. There we go. So that's great. Now what I want to do is I want to create another opportunity here. So after we get number 2, so now that I have all 4 of them, what I'm going to do is after they enter the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if numbers equals 1. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate largest n1, which is a function I have yet to write. So largest n1 is going to take the largest value of all the values that I send it, which is could be n1, and display it. So go up to the top, void largest, and now we're only receiving one value, n1. And now we don't have to do any work here. This is the easy one. So largest is n1, and we'll put an end L here. There we go. That's taken care of. So what I can do is I can run the program. Okay, I can say how many numbers. I've got one number, and it's 5. And it tells me that the largest is 5. I can run it again. And now imagine I have 2 numbers, 5 and 7. Now, it doesn't do anything because I have not put a function in here to determine which is the largest, 5 or 7. So what I can do here is I can repeat this step down here. So if the amount of numbers was 2, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this process. Now, what I would really love to do is just send it 2 values, and it would just figure that out. But watch this error that I get. Okay, so let's take a look at this. It says error. Too many arguments to function void largest. So, and it tells me it's expecting 1 integer, and I am sending it 2 values. So this is where it is having the issue, is I'm sending it the wrong number of arguments in order to do its process. So C++ and some other programming languages allow you a method to actually manage this. So up at the top, under void largest and above int main, we're going to do this. Void largest int n1 int n2. So what's happening here, now I'll just run this, although this doesn't actually do anything, but just to demonstrate, see, there's no error now because there's actually a function that handles 2 parameters. Stop this. Okay, so so what's happening here is both of these functions have the same name, but if you think about it, the way that C++ runs it, the parameters are part of the name of the function. So this is largest int, and this one is largest int. So they're kind of different. So inside this one, I can say if n1 is larger than n2, Of course, we're assuming that they're not going to be equal. There'll be different values for whatever reason. Then what I'll do is I will see out that the largest is n1. Else if n2 is larger than n1, then we will, and I'll do a little copy and paste here to save myself some time. It is n2 that is the largest. So now when I run this, how many numbers? I've got 2, and then I'm going to do a 5 and a 7. It will tell me that the largest is 7. So in order to solve this, all I need to do is, for each of these opportunities, I'm going to do this one. If the amount of numbers is 3, I want to send it n1, n2, and n3. Then if the if the amount of numbers was 4, I'm going to run largest n1, n2, n3, n4. So, and then I can pretty much repeat this process, except with each one has to have an additional value at the top. So that's going to be n3. And then I will solve this by also checking to see that n1 is larger than n3. In this second one, I have to verify and n2 is larger than n3, and then I have to put a third case here just to verify that n3 is larger than n1 and that n3 is larger than n2, and then I'm going to display n3. And then for the final one, I need to put in the fourth value and include that in the final result. So n1 will also need to be larger than n4 in the second one, and n2 is larger than n4, this last one, and n3 is larger than n4. And then for the last one, I just have to copy paste this line of code to check to see that n4 is larger than n1, n4 is larger than n2, and then n4 is larger than n3, and then I will be displaying it at the bottom here. So now if I run the program, you'll see that I am completely error-free because there is a version of largest that handles all types of input. So whether I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, so if I've got 4, I can say I've got 5, 7, 1, and 42, and then it will just tell me that the largest is 42. So overloading is really a process of using the same name for different versions of the process. Now it's important to note that I could not make a different one with 2 integers as the input. You have to have a different either number of inputs or a different organization of them. There's a bunch of different ways to do this.